Fucking cold. Air temperature, not bad. 41 degrees. 35-mile-an-hour wind. Now it's fucking cold with that wind chill. It's been windy all week, all through the weekend. What a rain. It's not raining, but it's very cloudy, overcast. More rain on the way. Anyway, so much for the weather. You know, this whole 318 thing on here, it seems to be quite a few people. They're all wrapped up in a 318. They want to turn a 318 into a 340. And they think they're going to do it on the cheap, you know. Well, it ain't going to happen. You know, if you have the money, you can do anything with anything, really. You know, the speed shops, we used to have several at one time. They're all gone. I think there's only one left, Grodas. Everything's changed, you know, with what young people are buying these days. What older guys want to relive their youth, you know. They want to have a car like they had when they were a teenager. They go looking around for one. They don't want to build one. They're a little financially secure. They look around for one as long as it's not too outrageous. But they'll go 30, 40 grand to find a real nice GTO, a real nice Roadrunner, real nice Chevelle, real nice Camaro, even an AMX. You know, I don't want to discriminate, you know, a nice Mustang Mach 1. For the cost of going out and buying a new car today, it's pretty much par for the course is what you're going to spend. It's just a matter of what you want. And these guys will use these cars for their weekend toys, take out, tour around with, put them away in bad weather. They take care of them. Their primary concern is they want the look. They want some performance under the hood. They don't care about if it's a 10-second car or a 12-second car. I like to use the word respectable. Something that won't embarrass you. When you do, put your foot into it. You know, you won't be the quickest, but you won't be the slowest either. And that's pretty much how it is, you know. They look for something like we did. We wanted a look. We really didn't care too much about what was under the hood. If it already had something decent, great, it's a bonus, but it wasn't a necessity. So a lot of guys around, they had a Nova, Camaro, Chevelle, base models, regular Malibu, no SS, base Nova, base Camaro, not even a rally sport. Some of them even had a 6-cylinder in them. But they really didn't care because the body was good. It had that look. It was a 2-door car. That all you needed was a nice, decent-looking color paint job. Put some nice wheels and tires on it. Regardless of what it had for a small V8, put headers, glass packs, aluminum intake, small Holley 650 vacuum secondary, chrome valve covers, headers, you know. It looks cool when you open the hood. It sounds good when it starts up. Yeah, it may not be a beast, but for a lot of people, that's good enough. For a lot of young guys, even back in my day, that was good enough. These guys just wanted something cool that looked good, ran halfway decent, you know. There were engines that people avoided. I can't help it. I won't apologize. For me, there was no replacement for displacement. The more cubic inches, the better. You know, the 318, I hear it called around here a boat anchor. It's true. People gave those away. GM guys, they had their boat anchor too. I hear the 305 mentioned. Actually, I go back a little further. The 307. 307, like a 305, like a 318. Very, oh, got a text, hold up. Sorry, that was important. Give me a heads up on what to expect tomorrow when I get to the VTH in the morning. You know, 307, like the 318, 305, very dependable engine. You don't beat on them, you change your oil as you should. Don't go by Sanford that says you don't need to change your oil. It's a commie, liberal commie conspiracy to get you to spend money on oil. He hasn't changed oil in his cars for 10 years. Well, they're sitting there parked, you know, as ornaments, as lawn ornaments, props for 10 years. Of course, you know, you don't need to change your oil in that situation. You take care of it and use it as it's They went in station wagons, passenger cars, vans, you name it. GM, Chrysler, Ford, all did the same thing. These engines had a specific purpose, very good engines. However, they were not really designed and intended to be pushed past their capability with expansion, hot rodding them, modifying them, upgrading them. Oh yeah, you can bore those things out to the fucking water jackets if you want, you know what I mean? Is that a wise thing to do? Nah, you know. Guys then had no intention of, trying to turn 307 into a 327, 360 horse, or an LT1 350. You know what I mean? They had what they had. They stuck to basics, the ones that really didn't have the money, but they wanted a nice looking cool car. They were proud of, and sounded good when it went down the street. They threw a little bit of gear in the rear end. They could break the tires a little bit loose. They had a 4-speed. Get the RPM up a little bit, walk off the clutch. You had a thing with nose over 20 feet off the line. It ran out of torque. It was at the end of the power band. It had no real high end of a power band because the engine was what it was, but it was good enough, And then as time went by, these guys wouldn't even dig into a cam. Just basic aesthetic stuff. It looks good. It sounds good. Open the hood, aluminum intake, Hawley, chrome valve covers, headers. That's all you really need, And it kept a lot of guys happy. I had friends that had that, And then the rest of us, we had cars that we had really gone, one step beyond that, A lot of guys that when they wanted more, when they got to that point one day, they said, this 307 just ain't it. The last thought in their mind was pulling it. I'm going to send it to a machine shop. I have the heads cut down. I'm going to do a 3-angle valve job. I'm going to cam the fuck out of it. I'm going to stroke it, raise the compression. No. They started looking around for a 350. Some case even a 327. I knew guys that would rather invest time and money in a 283 than a 307. Around here at one time we had a lot of speed shops, and they all had their inter-city friendly rivalry at New England Dragway. Once in a while in a blue moon, they didn't do it too often because when they got caught, it's bad enough our cars were illegally on the street, even though, we trailed them to New England Dragway down to Englishtown. Not that they wouldn't make it, but, you blow something. I blew a clutch one time. I spit out a drive shaft, snapped the yoke, snapped the U-joint in the back, and what the fuck, I'm down in fucking Jersey. I'm up in New Hampshire. How the fuck am I going to get home? So it was basically to make sure we could get home in case something happened. That's the only reason we trailed with them. Plus, this way, headers were already open, slicks were already on it. We didn't have to be in the pits getting under it, opening the headers, jacking it up, putting slicks in. It was just more convenient, and we knew we were going to get home. That was the main thing. We had to get home after having fun that day. And every speed shop, they had their little rivalry. These guys all knew each other. There was only 2 guys that didn't like another guy. And these were 2 Ford guys that didn't like a Chevy guy, Big Doug up in Fairhaven. He got a LS6 Chevelle. Yeah, it was a little more than what he got from Detroit. He was in the 11s with it. And the Baptiste brother, Billy and Dave. They were into small block Chevelles, 327s. They were like in, 13s, high 12s. But one guy here, J&J Automotive, I had mentioned it one time. In fact, I even showed you his shop when I was up the Far North End. One time, over the years, it went out of business. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to check on something. He had a sign above the counter. And it said, it read, how fast can you afford to go? That's what it comes down to. You can do anything with anything if you want to invest all the time and money. The average person isn't going to do their own machine work. They don't own their own machine shop. Even if you said, okay, there's a machine shop, the guy's going to let you use it for the afternoon. Here, go work on your heads, go bore and hone your block. They wouldn't even know how to do it. Now you got to pay someone to do it. You know what I mean? You got to pay someone to try to give you more cubic inches. You got to pay for someone to try to give you more compression. You got to pay for someone to get the right cam in there with the right amount of lift, and duration is very important. People talk about lift. Duration is very important. I wonder how many of these pickle sniffers of them even understand what duration is, what it equates to with a cam. When you hear 290 duration, what does that mean? The circle is 360 degrees. The cam rotates in a 360 degree rotational cycle. That means for 290 of those 360 degrees. That valve is up off the seat until it's back down, closed on the seat, intake and exhaust. That's your duration. The longer you can hang a valve open, the more air and fuel you can allow in to combust to make power, the more you can evacuate out of the head through your exhaust valves. You don't want to go too much. I ran 315 and 320 and 325 durations in my 3 cars, and I tell you, I had a serious problem. No low-end vacuum. Everything can be a give and a take, a plus and a minus, depending on what you're going to use it for. One car, I got so tired of having to, really, I don't want to say pray. I'm not religious. But there were times when that guy didn't want to fucking start, man. That guy had no brakes at all. One of them, I got rid of it. I converted it to manual brakes. And I did not like that either, You try stopping, a 3,400 pound car, it's going over 100 miles an hour with manual brakes, and you only have so much distance to do it. It's not fun, let me tell you. Industrial park, street racing was worse. You didn't have a whole lot of shutdown area. But a lot of us, that's what we had to do. That real low beat. Yeah, it sounds nice. It runs great. But you lose all the, vacuum that you need to stop that vehicle. There's so much that goes into cars. But I think what happened is, because people these days, there's a growing trend on here, be cheap, be cheap, be cheap, be cheap. Don't spend money. Don't save your money and buy a fucking 340, even if it needs a slight freshening up. Okay, everything's pretty good in it. And maybe it's pushing a little blow by, you know what I mean? Hone it. Put some good rings in it. Everything else looks good. If you got it apart that far, might as well. It ain't going to hurt to put new, bearings in it. Check everything out. Maybe a little mild upgrade with a cam. You don't need to go crazy with the heads, cut them down, doing valve jobs. A decent, halfway decent Edelbrock, Hawley, Offenhauser. You don't need a big, high-riser single plane, you know what I mean? You can run a low-riser performance type intake, aluminum. Your main savings is going to be in weight, because if you look at a lot of these intakes, especially more so with the low-riser performance series, Hawley's pretty much the same Offenhauser. If you look at the runner design, they look almost identical to the factory cast iron castings. Your main advantage is, pick up a cast iron intake, pick up an aluminum intake. That's going to be a biggest gain right there in weight savings. Yeah, that Hawley may run a little bit better than, a Quadrajet. Even though I tell you, man, Quadrajets, you can do a lot with those. You can do a lot with a Carter AFB, a thermocord. I had a Demon that ran good. Personally, I liked Hawley Dominators. I had one that I tried out. A friend bought it. Hey, it don't run good on my car. See if it runs good on your car. And if you like it, you want to buy it? A Predator. That was a big thing. It looked like a square cube. Like, Star Trek, the Borg. That's what it looked like. Just, what the fuck? It was okay. I didn't like it. I put it on, drove it around for a day. I was like, nah, I don't want to buy it. No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Believe it or not, the Ford Autolite carburetors are very good. A lot of good carburetors, if you know what to do with them. You don't need to go crazy, And you don't need to go crazy with something that's just decent for the street. But how fast do you want to go? These guys on here think they're going to turn their 318 with junk pots and do it on the cheap as much as they can and end up with something that's going to run not even better than a stock 340. You'll be lucky if it runs as good. You'll be lucky if it runs as good as a stock 340. Like an old Chevy guy is going to get that 305 to run like a 350, 360 horse 327 or a 370 horse LT1. That was not going to happen. But I think they realized it. And they didn't even want to think about investing the time and the money. They figured the time and the money that they're going to have to invest in it, it'd save them money. They go looking around for a 350 or a 327. You find a 327. Needed a little bit of work. But it was, a 300 horse 327. They got lucky. They found a 350, 360 horsepower version. Just needed a little freshening up. Everything's there. Machine work's not going to be that expensive. Just give it a hone. Put some rings, Cast rings, Personally, I hit chrome moly. I'm not big on chrome moly. Chrome moly, they tend to throw a little bit of smoke. The reason is they're specifically designed to have a very low friction resistance. That way you free up some power. less friction resistance with chrome mollies. The thing is, chrome mollies never really seat as good as a steel ring, and they will tend to smoke a little bit. You get a little puffing out of them, especially at startups. Oil seeps past them, but for racing application, they're better. I personally didn't like it. Once I put them in, I was stuck with it. I had to deal with it. It wasn't bad, but I just feel bad. Hey, man, you went through that whole engine, man, dude, and it's smoking just a little bit. It wouldn't smoke consistently. It was actually, I felt embarrassed. What the fuck, man, I learned my lesson with that. Never put chrome mollies in again. But they learned that. Well, then you save your money. You look around for that 327, that 350. Don't fuck around with a 305 or a 307. You Mopar guys with your 318, save your money. Look around for that 340. 360. They're relatively cheap. I don't know much about, Mopars. Wasn't that 360 a pretty common engine? They had a 360 Magnum. They even put it in trucks and SUVs and shit. Pretty decent engine. Maybe it may not be up to the same horsepower and torque spec as a 340, but it's a hell of a lot better than a fucking 318. You can easily find one out of a wreck. Isn't that what my ex-boyfriend Cabbage Patch did? With his $27,000 junkyard dog? Didn't that come out of a Dodge truck 360? He got it for $300-400 or something like that. You can find it cheap. There's a lot you can do to a car. A low budget build isn't how cheap you can be. It's how wise you are with your money and where you spend your money. That's where the budget comes in. You don't want to do things twice. You want to buy a real cheap pot that breaks on you a week later? You got your money's worth. Now you're going to buy one again? By the time you get through repurchasing things you're breaking, you could have bought a brand new one and had a few bucks left in your pocket to spare. I think people are following the lead on guys on here that just want to promote junk. They're discouraging people from doing things the right way. It's not my way. There's a right way and a wrong way, and it has nothing to do with me. But I've been around the block a time or two or three in life to see people that did these different things and what they ended up with and the money and the time they spent in it. And some of the people that tried to be the cheapest and wanted to do the most with the smallest cube engines ended up spending more time and money than the guys that had a better engine with a more cubic engines. Like I say, there was no replacement for displacement. Cut and dry. But hey, guys can do what they want to do. But I find that there are trends on here. There are big trends on here. You got people crawling around junkyards. Guys seem to be infatuated with junk. Four-door ugly cars. You can find a two-door, even if it's a two-door Ford Galaxy or a two-door Aspen, a little bit of a fastback type roof, it already has some sort of a cool look to it. All you need to do is put cool wheels and tires on it, a nice sounding exhaust, nice looking paint job. And that in itself is a lot better than a fucking four-door fucked up Coronet or a fucking Bel Air with junk fucking engines in them. You know what I mean? These cars will be dependable, drivable. It's all a matter of what you want. Not every guy wants a real fast car. But I think young guys, they do want a cool car. And a cool car doesn't necessarily have to be a 10-second car or a 12-second car or an 11-second car. Just something they can have fun with. They don't have to invest a ton of money in it. And they can be proud of it. What it is. And when it's going down the street, guys are looking at it. People are looking at it. Hey, that car's cool. That thing sounds nice. That looks nice. You think people are stopping and thinking, does that thing run a 10? Well, if it don't run a 10, I wouldn't want it. Sometimes I don't understand how people think. And they look at what's going on with the Save the Children 318. And this is a guy that, a couple of guys that say, them. This guy's a fucking car guru, genius, the crypt keeper. Look at all the machines, They gave up on it. They gave up on trying to make 318 horsepower. You know, because they knew at the time the machine work and the money and the cost that would be involved in it, it was not worth it. You know, that's one thing I would suggest taking their advice. Don't do what they attempted to do, because even they gave up on it. You know what I mean? Now they got to start from scratch all over again. How much money is going to go into this 318 again? How much time is going to go into it? Personally, I don't think it'll ever get built. I think the day that Save the Children 318 actually gets built, it's on a dyno and it's putting out, 275 horsepower. They're hoping, they're not even saying they're going to get it. They're hoping to get same horsepower output as a fucking stock 344 barrel. That's what they're hoping to get with all this work. It's going to be involved in this 318. I ask myself, is it worth it? I say, fuck no. Why are they even fucking around with that thing? But they're not the only one. Captain Kangaroo, Dr. Doolittle, Sanford's got them fucking around with 318s in a junk station wagon, a junk truck. And they're not the only ones, man. Guys are going 318 crazy on here. And GM guys are sitting back laughing their ass off saying, why are you wasting your time and money on a 318? We don't waste our time and money on a 305 or a 307. Have a nice day, suckers. That's what they're saying to you, Anyway, I guess that's about it. So, yeah, that made me think, there's like trends and things on here. Cold starts. Will it start? Will it run? Dragged it out of the woods. I'm going to restore it. Yeah, right. That never happens. There's like trends that people just do anything to get attention. And I think in some ways that tells me it really doesn't take too much to make car guys excited these days, does it? It really doesn't. Bring on the junk and thrill these motherfuckers. Impress the fucking shit out of them with junk. Yeah, so you talk them into spending a lot of time and money on a fucking 318. And stick it in a 4-door shitbox taxi cab. You know what I mean? You guys keep promoting that. You know what the funny thing is? Not one of you have produced anything that would even make someone scratch your head and go, wow, that's really impressive. Maybe I should do that. And don't go by Sanford with that baby border rocket. Running, 100, 150 shot of fucking laughing gas in that thing. And the car's been lightened up. It's only like 3,000 pounds. That car is not impressive in the least. But I think you already know that. That's why it's retired. NT, no time. You never hit that magic 10-second number. He had made a big promise he was going to do it. Swore up and down. In the year 2023, well, here we are. A third of the way into 2024. Still ain't happened. Still never will happen. Now I hear he's got a hammer he's fucking around with. It's got a hole punch in the side of the bark. You can stick your fist through. He's going to do all this cold welding. I bet that's going to thrill his pickle sniffers, huh? It really doesn't take much to throw car guys on here. Well, I guess car guys really have changed through the years. I guess things really have changed. Makes me realize how old I'm getting. Have a great day. Have fun and stay safe.